One thing that I really struggle with, I find it hard to navigate my life between, like, social media is a different world, and then there's a real. A lot of times that I'm maybe comparing myself or judging myself.
A new warning about something else: social media and what it means for kids' mental health.
But how do you manage this? Because I struggle with it big time. When I go on social media, I see my energy change.
Like I still compare myself. I still compare myself. Even this evening, I opened social media and I ended up comparing myself. You have a dopamine book and you're big into
Yeah.
like understanding how neuroscience works,
Yeah.
and also Andrew Huberman, right?
Yeah.
Like it's also the fact that our dopamine circuitry is obviously so complex to understand.
Yeah.
But do you feel like you are the most powerful version of yourself?
Mokshi, my brother,
It's so good to be here, man.
bro. Honestly,
Yeah.
let me just start there. You're the second person to be on the podcast for the second time.
Yeah.
It's a huge honor, as always.
I am truly honored to be here.
Man, I consider you like my younger brother,
Yeah.
and I love everything that you do. It's definitely a source of inspiration for me and a lot of people around us. I've said this before as well in the first podcast that you're someone who's, constantly questioning the status quo and pushing boundaries and always curious to know more, find out more, grow more. And that is something that I deeply relate with as well. So
Yeah.
that's why we're here, bro.
Nah,
So
man. It's also the fact that you find people that question the status quo, and I look at it in a way where it's like I want to find the truth, and if finding the truth involves breaking my ego multiple
Yeah.
times, having my reality shattered multiple times, but me getting closer to the truth, that's what matters. And to find someone else who's also on the same journey, although in their own unique
all
and
in their
separate
own
way,
way.
it's so good. And it was as simple as me reaching out to you in uni and being like, dude, like I
Yeah.
really love the stuff that you do and I'm inspired. And then from there the relationship sort of developing. We ran a marathon last week, which
Exactly,
is
bro.
insane. Like I could have never guessed that I'd be in uni running a marathon with friends that I found, and like damn, like you're embarking on a 42-kilometer journey together, which is insane.
Yeah,
So,
100%, man. And that's what I respect. Like, about truth, like, I totally agree. If, you keep truth above your egoistic self and the identity you hold so dearly, because if you when you do that, like, that's the only way to grow. It's like, how snakes shed their old skin.
true.
So if you hold so dearly to your identity that I'm this, I'm this, I'm that, you can never change. So if
True.
you're always looking for the truth, like, you have to be egoless in a way.
Yeah. You have to be like water, as Bruce Lee said it, right? Like
100%.
you're like a perennial river that's going to be flowing all throughout life, and the moment you start creating dams as to who you are and your identity is the moment that life will teach you that, hey, you're blocking the flow and this is not how you're going to grow.
And this happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like, you do find yourself in that confinement and in that container,
which is self-created.
Self-created. 100%. It's all in the mind. But we've had a lot of deep conversations, bro.
Yeah, but many more to come.
Many more to come. So I'll touch on some of these here, different ones. These things I haven't discussed with you.
Yeah.
So I'll start by something that I really admire and love about your energy, which is I've always seen you in a positive light, man. You're always someone who's shows up with a lot of energy, has a smile to his face, never complaining. I know, being human, you go through everything. There's no person in this world that can say, and I'm happy all the time, right? That's a lie. Everybody goes through everything, but it's about how you respond to it, and you're a true example of that. I've always seen you smile, and like you just always carry a positive attitude, and it's, I think, one of the best qualities about you as well.
Yeah, I look at it in a way where it's also like the fact that we come from very privileged backgrounds.
Yes.
And the fact that we haven't seen a lot of struggle and hardship in life, right? So understanding the fact that we don't really have to go through a lot of like real hardship where you don't know what you're going to be doing, just acknowledging that fact really puts you at ease, where you're like, what do I really have to complain? I've already been blessed with so many things that not everyone gets blessed with, and you have so much opportunity, right? Like when you look at the upside and we look at the half glass full, you see that there's so much, left to conquer and do. And so then there's no real reason to be complaining for things. So yeah.
And I get that. I feel like most of people understand this, like objectively, they understand like everybody's privileged, and they they shouldn't complain about
Yeah.
anything, but the mind is always
Yeah.
negatively thinking about things, right? We're
Very true.
programmed to sort of uh, see threats more than opportunities, and
Yeah.
that's just how we've evolved, right? So how do you maintain this? Like, this is something I want to know personally as well, because I also see myself jumping in it and out of it and in it and out of it. And the only thing that keeps me going is just having constant reminders that there is things to be grateful for, because your mind can always take you in that loop wherein you're thinking that maybe you're comparing or you're judging
Yeah.
or not feeling as grateful. But man, we're doing better than 99% of the world.
Yeah.
So there's absolutely no reason to complain, you
Yeah.
know?
100%. I To that point, right? Like I found myself especially as a teenager, going through those massive loops where I was doing amazing, and then all, like, you go down in a negative spiral, and the spiral would be really bad, right? One thing that really helped was definitely, meditation.
Hmm.
Meditating every single day, and then just realizing what meditation does is, for me especially, is that it creates a separation between the watcher inside me, which you can call the soul or the spirit or whatever, but that's the separation, and then the body and the mind are separate.
Hmm.
So say I'm going through a negative loop in my mind, I'm able to watch the negative loop in my mind, and just
Yeah.
watching the negative loop in your mind already separates you from
You
it.
separate,
Yeah,
detached from
you
it.
know you're not your thoughts at the end of
Yeah.
the day, right? So even if it makes it so much easier, and it ties back to the point where in the marathon, after 35 kilometers you start to feel cramps.
Yeah.
And so it was so easy for me to just watch myself run and watch
Mm.
myself feel the cramps,
And
where
detached from the pain in
I
a
knew
way.
I was in the pain. I was in the body. It was just
Yeah.
me watching, and like watching myself go through the pain. So I think meditation helps quite a lot, and it's also, I have a set of um, characteristics of myself that I really like, and I've
Mm.
written them down in a sheet, and I have it on my phone. So every single morning, once I'm done meditating, once I'm done visualizing, I visualize my character quite a lot. Where it's like, how do I show up in the world? How do I
Is that something in
carry
the
myself?
future, as in?
Just right now as well. Like
Right.
I have a few of them is, I am not my thoughts, but I'm present in the moment. I'm Wherever I go with me, right? It's
Yeah.
like the watcher comes with me.
Yeah.
Things like, I act as if successes are inevitable. These are the few affirmations that I have for myself, that I also like to review every single morning. But even still, I go down into bad loops every
Yeah.
now and then, and
I think that's inevitable.
that's inevitable. But that's
It's
the
about
journey
how
of
quick
life.
you get out of it. That's how
Yeah,
I think about it.
yeah,
Like, it's
yeah,
about how everybody will go into it,
yeah.
but if you put in the work, you can learn to get out of it quicker,
Quicker,
which is
yeah.
what separates you.
Sometimes I also feel like, even if you're not able to get out of it quicker, you are going down that long loop and that strenuous loop
Yeah.
because it's unlocking something new in you.
It's meant to be.
It's meant to
There's
be.
a reason it's there.
Yeah, there's a reason why
Yeah.
it's there.
And you don't see that in the moment. Like, you'll only see it once it's passed, and when
Yeah.
you're reflecting, you'll only be
Yeah.
grateful for it, because that's what brought you there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how I like to look at it. Yeah,
100%. So these reminders you set, like affirmations and meditation. Are you meditating every day?
Pretty much. I actually was meditating in the cab while I came here.
Yeah.
And it started off with me like implementing the habit, and I saw you always meditate, right?
Yeah.
Which was amazing. And even right now, like the environment he's got here, and the incense sticks and everything, it's perfect for
Very
meditation.
meditative oriented.
It's extremely meditative, yeah. But yeah, I like to meditate. I think first thing in the morning, as soon
Yeah.
as I'm up and I've brushed my teeth, or sometimes after my workout, because I feel like a lot of meditation is also being having a sense of catharsis, where you're letting go of all of the thoughts and the energy that's piled up inside you, and then you tap into that state. But yeah, I try to meditate once a day, 10 to 15 minutes, then 5 minutes of visualization, where I just visualize my character, visualize my goals, and that
Yeah.
just puts me in that energy where I'm chasing after those goals. So I like to do that every day. And some days when I feel like I am switching contexts, so say for example I was studying right before this, and now I had to switch into a podcast mode, and that's when I would usually just meditate to become present in the moment, and then I can I don't have
Yeah.
any carryover from the past event that I was engaged in. So
Yeah. You change your energy and you sort of set an intention and like show up with an intention. That makes a huge difference, rather
100%.
than just like spontaneously doing.
Yeah, and it's very visible in everything that you do as well, right? Like
Yeah.
you have that energy. You have a very grounding energy. Is what I even told my mother the other day. That it's like when I meet Parmeet, it's a very grounding energy. It's not a very very positive or very negative. It's just super grounding where you just
Yeah.
feel present in the moment.
Yeah.
And which is very noticeable when you meditate. You can feel other people's energies. So
100%.
it is.
No, that's a very good observation. I don't like to like be. I just like to be calm.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, and I think that's served me well in a lot of ways, and that's how I like see myself being as well. So I obviously embody that more and more, and as time goes on. Uh, but no, it's a good observation, bro.
yeah, yeah.
So tell me something. With the one thing that I really struggle with is, I mean, we're both doing social media to some extent. You're a celebrity now.
Nah, bro, nah. Long way to go, bro. Long way to go.
We're just getting started. You're
Yeah.
doing really well, phenomenal. It's just all the years of hard work that you've put in the grind. It shows, man. And from I've long before, like, this is only like maybe the small bit of success that you've had. There's a long way to go.
Yeah.
But the phase that you've had in the past few months, like I used to tell you before as well, it was only a matter of time.
Only a matter of
Yeah,
time.
100%. So for me, like, I find it hard to navigate my life between, like, social media is a different world and then there's a real world.
Yeah.
Right? So growing up with social media all along, you sort of get some level of your opinions and beliefs and judgments and whatnot from social media, but then you know that it's all, at the end of the day, it's all
Fake.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even I wouldn't like, it's, yeah, maybe fake.
Perceived reality.
Yeah,
I'd
it's
say,
it's
altered
not
reality.
real.
Yeah.
It's not real. Like the connections we have in person, like the conversations we have and everything. Don't get me wrong, social media is good for a lot of things. It's a tool. Like, it depends on how you use it. That's what you get out of it. But how do you manage this? Because I struggle with it big time. When I go on social media, I see my energy change drastically. And to be very frank, even though as much as I meditate and do all those things and set reminders, I do observe I'm aware a lot of times that I'm maybe comparing myself or judging myself. Uh, and yeah, those things just put me off. They really put me off. That's why I just delete Instagram. I tell people, like, I download it every other day. I use it for a bit and I delete it, and like, you're crazy.
Yeah. No, I do that
Yeah.
exact same practice. But even for myself, right? Like I still compare myself. I still compare myself. Even this evening, I opened social media and I ended up comparing myself, and I feel like that's just the inherent
So
nature of the app.
subconscious. Like,
It's so subconscious.
yeah.
But there have been phases in my life where I haven't compared myself, where I've just gone on Instagram and seen someone do amazing and been like this is amazing. Like, and it's also like dependent on a lot of what state you're in life. But again, I follow the same practice as you to maintain
Yeah.
that separation with social media, where I only download it when I'm posting,
Yeah.
or I have a separate account where I just follow like good pages and stuff, and I just
That's
I
good.
just open
That's
that
smart.
account. Yeah, just that
Yeah.
account to scroll through really good
Yeah.
inspirational content. Because what ends up happening, especially when you grow quite a lot on social media, is you find a lot of people, right?
Of course.
And you connect with a lot of people,
Yeah.
and then sometimes those people are not the people that you should be following,
100%.
and so then you're just bombarded with so
Yeah,
much
there's
information.
1,000 people, you find everybody's energy coming in, and like, if you're not mindful of where you're going and which energy you wanna relate to, you're gonna relate to everything, and
Exactly.
you're gonna like uh,
Be bombarded.
everything is like, if you're going for everything, you're going for nothing in a way. That's how
very
I
true.
see it. So
And minutes pass by, bro. Like time passes by when you're on that
yeah,
app.
man, the algorithm is so freaking bro. I just like, when I have it on my phone, I'm subconsciously, I would go and open the app, and then I would realize, like, I wasn't supposed to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
And
But
this happens a lot of
it's
times.
just the fact that you have a dopamine book, and you're big into
Yeah.
like understanding how neuroscience works, and
Yeah.
also Andrew Huberman, right?
Yeah.
Like it's also the fact that our dopamine circuitry is obviously so complex to
Yeah.
understand, but
Yeah.
it's also the fact that the one thing that we chase is reward, and the
Hmm.
app is just designed to
Yeah.
reward you
100%.
every now and then. It just
Yeah.
rewards
Instant
you,
gratification,
instant
which
gratification.
doesn't work. We all know this.
Yeah,
So it's finding that discipline is really hard.
true.
Yeah.
But do you feel like you are the most powerful version of yourself when you are in a disciplined state, where on a day-to-day
Yeah.
basis, like you're just
Yeah.
chasing delayed gratification?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
think
I
so.
think it's just
Yeah.
that sometimes. Yeah,
When I'm in that phase, like uh, the level of self belief and self respect I have
yeah.
is immense, and obviously that translates into everything that I do.
True. You show up different with even
You show
people.
up
Yeah,
differently,
yeah.
and maybe people don't notice on the outside. Nobody knows you better than yourself.
True.
So you know how you're showing up, and it, like, in your own perception, even though outside people might not see it, in your own perception you see yourself in that manner. So
Yeah.
you know when you're fucked up, or you haven't showed up, or you've made this promise to yourself, and you didn't do it. And self belief, I think, is just a,
An
a
experience of success. Yeah.
it's just a habit of, like, the every time you show up for the things that you said you were going to do, you collect evidence, and the more evidence you collect, the more you believe in yourself,
True.
right? And the outside is just a reflection of that. Your people around you are only going to respect you and believe in you as much as you believe in
In
yourself,
yourself. Yeah.
right?
And I would go as far as to say that you should believe in yourself a lot more than people believe in you, right? Like at the end of the day,
100%. But
yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
people will reflect that,
Yeah, people will reflect that 100%.
like, how whatever bar you set for yourself, people will adjust to it.
Yeah.
Initially they will have problems, and you will see that they will have problem
Hesitation.
adjusting.
Yeah.
And logically, as a person, we also had a problem adjusting.
Yeah.
Going through a transition phase,
Yeah.
right? You're setting a different bar for yourself. So when you do that, like, people have always seen you in a different light, and you're a different person now. So they have to adjust. And that transition period, you see a lot of agitation, comments, opinions, right?
Yeah.
But eventually, that's how they see you,
Yeah.
right? And they sort of like throw back what you throw at them, like
Yeah.
the belief you
And you
have
see
about
the other
yourself.
person change as well, right? Like even in your,
100%.
I've seen like from last year when you ran your first marathon, right? And you changed yourself obviously
Yeah.
from when you were in university to when you moved out, and the way you are now. And it's also the butterfly garden that you've created around, where everyone was running a marathon with you, everyone is on
Yeah,
this
it
path
was
with you.
beautiful.
And that's the most beautiful feeling in the world, I guess,
Yeah.
when everyone's just chasing after the best version of
Yeah.
themselves, which is, and I see
100%.
it myself, even though I consider I've done nothing, like I really haven't made a difference in the world. But even when I see young kids from my hometown, from India, they're probably going on runs, or they're probably becoming
Yeah.
more focused with their academics, or probably posting on social media and
Yeah.
growing. And I look at that, and I don't take credit for any of it, but I just feel like I've been put on this earth to fulfill a certain purpose. I'm the vessel, and
Yeah.
something, or some energy is
Exactly.
operating through me. And the fact that that's happening, it's a crazy experience to live through, where you're being used for a certain purpose,
100%.
which is bigger than you. Yeah,
Yeah. You're just, this is how I say it. Like, even I don't believe in, like, following people or idealizing a person.
yeah,
You can idealize an idea, a certain energy,
yeah,
a certain concept, certain philosophy. Those can be perfect in their own right. But a person is a person. It can't be perfect ups
people
and
are just
downs.
people.
Yeah, exactly. So we as people, like, when how I think of it, like, when I give that energy to other people, I received it. It's not my energy. I didn't create it. I'm not. It's not my
Yeah,
energy, right? I
yeah,
received it from other people. I got inspired by that energy, and because it was so helpful for me, I passed it on.
yeah.
So it was never mine to keep. Like, I
True.
received it and I passed it on, and only hope is that they pass it on to the other person.
Yeah, and they
You know?
will.
Yeah, and they will, and it
Yeah,
creates that domino effect.
yeah,
You know, so I think that's the beauty of it. It's more so for, like, when they're you and everyone, like, when they're you guys are doing these things around me, like, it motivates me. It's like I started Wiser to keep myself accountable.
yeah.
That was like
That was the
like the
goal in the
focal
beginning,
point
yeah, the
initially,
first
like
initial spark.
yeah, 100%. And us on board and everybody on board, like I realized that people in life, including myself, you're better accountable to other people than yourself.
Yeah,
If I'm going to the gym alone, like
yeah,
I would sometimes ditch, but if I
yeah,
told you, Moksh, like let's go to the gym, I
yeah,
will show up.
yeah. You will exactly.
Yeah,
No, I feel that too. And when you are also chasing selfish goals, it's so simple to be. It's so easy to be satisfied. But when you're chasing for something bigger, than you're the guy who runs Wiser Together.
yeah,
You're the person that shows up, and that inspires someone like me, someone like other people at uni, other
yeah,
people around you, other people from your hometown probably. And those
100%.
things are you will show up because you
Yeah,
have to show up.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's that when
yeah,
you give, it's man. Honestly, I feel like I'm only 28, but I'm blessed to have experienced everything the material world has to offer.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
that's when my quarter life crisis started. I was like, man, there's nothing on the outside that I can experience anymore that's
yeah.
gonna give me that
That
finding that
pleasure.
truth
Yeah,
and that
yeah,
answer. So I have to go within.
yeah.
And this wiser and all of this journey is within, and getting people to do the same, because eventually everybody's chasing something in life, right?
True,
And then living in the capitalistic world, for most people, it's money.
true.
So once you do make that, then you realize that that's not the
I think
answer. So
highest of it would be power,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
money is what
But I feel
fuels the
like a
power.
lot of people
Yeah,
relate, like correlate that if you have money, you have power. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I get
Because
what you mean.
money is more tangible. It's more you can quantify
Concrete.
it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's power is more qualitative, and it's more intangible. So people believe if they have money, they and
they
in the
have power.
capitalistic world, is it to some extent it is like that, right?
True. Yeah. It's also a very masculine desire as well, right?
Yeah,
Like you want to control
yeah,
people around you. You want
yeah.
to control how the world works. Yeah.
I think there's nothing wrong with that, as long as like the reason behind it is what matters, right? I want to lead things in a certain way, uh, and that requires some sort of management and leading people or telling people do this or do that. But if it's eventually for a cause that's going to bring back to humanity, that's what matters more.
Yeah. 100%. I also look at it in a sense where I see, say for example, that capitalistic mentality,
Yeah,
that fact that you're chasing after something that doesn't really matter in the end, right? And the fact that you have to go through a paradigm to understand it. Like you have to, and I it's also like I think of it like it's probably the average male experience
yeah.
that like you chase after things, you chase after money, you chase after women,
Women, yeah,
you chase after being super strong physically. You chase after that feeling where you're super high on testosterone, like you just
yeah,
want that feeling.
yeah,
But I want to do all of those things. I want to get on that path, but also just at the same time watch myself
yeah,
go through that path.
yeah.
Like I know there are certain things that I want to do in life, and I'm just gonna sort of witness myself, but let myself go on those things, go
Yeah,
on those
it's a
tangents.
sweet balance. It's hard to
Yeah,
explain, but you have to find that
you have to find that balance. Yeah,
sweet balance,
100%.
100%. And like with Chase, like yeah, that's I always say like we're most ferocious, most energetic
Yeah,
when we're chasing, be
yeah,
it an experience, women,
yeah.
money, whatever, a
True.
goal,
A goal. Yeah,
running a marathon,
yeah,
whatever it may be. In that pursuit is when you're like fully energetic, attentive, and just going towards it. Once you attain it,
it's just
yeah,
normal.
yeah,
Like
it's no,
it's and I learned that because as a kid myself, the issue that I faced was that I was super ambitious from day one. And it also a lot of it comes from parenting, right?
yeah.
My father had this practice of, even my mom had this practice of calling me, you're my number one, number one, number one. And
That makes such a huge freaking, people don't realize,
yeah,
makes a huge difference
biggest difference,
subconsciously,
because
you know?
it's what drills into you, right? Like
Yeah,
when you, even
yeah,
if you're not performing, you're like, but my parents think I'm number one, so maybe there's something in me that can be number one. And so they used to just drill it in my head, like you're
yeah,
number one, number one, number
yeah.
one. But I just didn't have it in me to win. There are certain characteristics that you need
You
to
have to
embody to
develop,
win. You have to
yeah,
develop
and
those.
you have to go through that darkness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even say darkness, but for me, relatively, again, like relatively, it was quite dark. Few
Yeah.
experiences.
It's all a metaphor. Like I've had a very privileged life. Like
Yeah.
I can't compare it to most people.
Yeah.
Like most people go through worse shit than me, but it's all relative, right?
Yeah, but you
In
have
our
your
own
had your
experience.
relatively dark
Yeah,
moments.
yeah,
Which
yeah.
is, you know,
In a
given you the
metaphorical sense.
metamorphosis.
Yeah,
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 100%.
yeah. So I had my fair share of, you know, dark moments,
Yeah,
relatively dark moments, I would say. And then after that, just I understood how to win. You know, you there are a certain few things that you know that you need to do to, in
yeah,
order to win.
yeah,
And then when you're chasing after that goal, you have these moments of, like, say for example, when I was chasing the 10K on Instagram, right? 10K followers on
right.
Instagram, or I'm, say for example, chasing a certain, you know, internship, or say for
Yeah,
example chasing a certain marathon. It's when you're chasing after it and there are moments where you don't believe in yourself, and then you prove yourself wrong, is when you like feel like, damn,
that's
like
what
I'm
it
meant
is.
for
Yeah,
this, like
it's the
this is.
overcoming.
Yes.
Yeah, not the achieving, but
The
the
overcoming.
overcoming. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's why the chase is so.
because if it was linear, then it wouldn't be fun.
Yeah, like what did you achieve then? If you were to achieve that in any way, you didn't overcome, then what did you achieve? Like
Yeah.
it was meant for you anyway. So
Yeah.
you didn't do nothing out of the ordinary to
The
get to it.
crazy part was like your story of your last year's marathon, like
Yeah.
the fact that you finished after
Yeah.
it being the
I
hottest
still
day.
like think about it. I don't know how I finished it.
Yeah.
And that more than all the training I've done this year, that one marathon after 20K getting in the injury and all that happened, that one marathon has instilled the belief in me that I can do the 100K. Like no matter what happens, I'll get to the finish line more than all
Yeah.
the training. So
The way I think about it, bro, if not you, then who? You know, like,
yes, sir.
like,
It's
yeah,
all we're all on our own journey, and it's you do it in your own ways.
yeah,
Like you never know what's ahead of you.
yeah. You never know what's.
Yeah,
But then that's the fun of it, right?
that's
Like
the
where
fun
you
of it.
just don't know what's gonna happen
Yeah,
tomorrow, but then
yeah,
you're gonna live tomorrow. You're gonna find out. Yeah,
100%.
100%.
But this one thing that you mentioned really hit me, man. Like my mom always used to tell me as well
Yeah.
that you're gonna be the most successful person in the world. You're
Yeah.
gonna be like and she would look at me with such conviction when she would tell me. My dad's the opposite.
Yeah.
He he's provided me with everything in life, but he's always like that. How do you say it?
Tough love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tough love.
Yeah.
That's the right word.
Yeah.
Tough love. Like he's always uh, questioning. Like no matter what I get, and that's what pushes me more.
Hmm.
You know that.
How do I
Like,
get that validation?
yeah, like it's so hard for me to make my dad, like I know he's proud of me, like
Yeah.
I can see it,
Yeah.
but you know how your mom just like unconditional, like
Yeah.
no matter what you are, the level of belief she has in you,
Yeah.
it's unconditional.
True.
Like uh, uh, only a mother's love is truly unconditional.
I agree
That's what I think.
100%.
Even not even a father.
Not
I
even a
think,
father.
yeah, even only a mother, because she's carried you in her.
In a womb for
You know?
9 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Like I feel that as well. But for me, it was slightly different. Where when I was young, my mom went to my dad and she was like, "I'm gonna be the one that's gonna discipline this guy,
Yeah.
right? And I don't want you to get angry at him, or or physically beat him,
Yeah.
because he will then have daddy issues."
Yeah.
And so they were very mindful of that from the beginning. So my mom was the one who was, maybe throwing slippers at me, or
Don't
like
get me wrong. I've
beating
been
me
thrown
up,
slippers
and
at it as well. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong.
yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah. Go on. Sorry.
No, you were saying.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
happened to
you've
me
been
as
through
well.
the same
Yeah,
experience. From mom or dad?
from mom.
Yeah, from mom.
From mom.
Yeah, yeah.
Dad would just, if he just raises his voice, like I
That's
would.
enough.
Yeah.
So it was similar for me, where like my dad, the maximum he would do is like raise his voice, which was also very rare.
Yeah.
But again, that it's so important. Also, I feel like for a father and a son to have that little bit of a distance where the son has to sort of chase the father, and that's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that plays a big role. Like if fathers have to maintain that level of a little bit distance, maybe, like
Yeah.
they can't be emotionally so like cuddly
Yeah.
and listen, like that's why you respect them and look at them in so much. Like
Yeah.
it's like my dad, if he raises his voice, it's more like scary for me than my mom's chappals,
Yeah,
for example,
yeah.
So like that's why, like, because he's from day one, like he's instilled that
Yeah,
in me, But I feel like this mix really like helps me.
yeah. That
Like,
balances
yeah,
each other out.
mom's
Yeah,
like unconditional love and belief,
yeah,
and my dad gives me everything, like all the resources, everything's there, but fucking do something.
yeah.
And no matter what I do, like it just he expects more and more and
More
more.
and more.
And I feel like he has the same bar for himself, like he's never satisfied, which is a blessing and a curse, I
Yeah.
feel like. And he expects the same from me,
No, 100%. I agree to that. I agree to that. Yeah.
Yeah, you, it's similar in your.
No, for me, with my father, it sort of switched around when I crossed 18.
Fair
Crossed
enough,
18,
you're adult,
19.
and yeah,
Yeah, I was an
it's
adult,
more of a
and
mature discussion.
after 18, he was like, "It's your life.
Yeah.
I have done everything I had to do in my life.
Yeah.
You go out there. You live your own life." And I came to Sydney. There's that, and then the moment that I sort of became super ambitious, and it's also the fact that the parents know exactly what
They
mind
know.
state you're at.
They know.
The moment my dad figured out, like, there's something in the kid, we don't know what
Yeah,
it
he's
is,
not
but
gonna fuck it up.
yeah, there's something in the kid,
Yeah.
that's special.
Yeah.
Ever since then, he's just been, he talks to me a certain way.
Yeah.
There's a certain,
Level of respect, and there's a level of freedom.
Yeah. And it's also that boy to boy, man to man
Yeah,
talk that you can
100%.
have with your father. Like,
Yeah.
even this afternoon, right? Like, I was studying and I was going through lectures, and that man just kept calling me, right? And then his network would go off and
Yeah.
the phone would get cut, and I'm calling him again, he wouldn't pick up my call.
Yeah.
But again, like, I can just talk to him, "Hey, like, what's up? How's life going, dude?" Like,
Yeah.
and he'll be like, "Hey, you tell me, how's
Yeah.
life going, dude?"
100%.
So that relationship has now sort of come into fruition, and I'm super grateful that has. And he's never placed any expectations on me in that sense, where he's like, you need to do this or you need to do that. But I know I'm gonna,
Yeah.
make him happy.
He knows.
Yeah, he knows.
He doesn't have to say.
Yeah.
I love that as well, because like my parents, I was never like, they're not on my ass and spoon feeding me or
Yeah.
this, like they threw me off.
Yeah.
Make my own. I moved when I was 18. It's crazy.
Yeah, you
probably,
went to UK.
Yeah, you moved when you were 18, or
Exactly 18. Yes.
to
Sydney.
okay, you were 18.
Yeah, I was
That's
exactly
crazy.
18.
Yeah, so similar experience, right?
Yeah.
18. I don't think you're mature enough at 18. At
Yeah.
least I wasn't. I
Neither
think
was
you
I.
were still
No, I
more
wasn't.
mature than me,
Yeah.
for sure.
Bro, at 18, I was a lot.
If you met me
more-
at 18, bro, we wouldn't be friends.
I think it's a lot about context as well, right? Like, for you, say for
Yeah.
and I also
I
compare.
didn't have that exposure either.
You didn't have that exposure. You didn't have that, like, say for example, from someone like me. If I go online right now, I see examples like Eman Gaji. I see and that guy's story is crazy, because he was 14, and he's, from a spiritual standpoint as well, I think he's enlightened.
Yeah.
On top of that, he's from the material side of things, like he's made hundreds of millions of dollars. From the female side of things, he's successful in every realm that you can imagine. But it's also that he's had a very dark life experience. But when you have those examples online, for myself, for me, that's the bar in my head, right? But say, for example, at your age, when you were 18, you did not have that context around you. You did not have social media. You did not have people doing weird things online, or
100%.
chasing after.
It was a different world. This was like 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah, feels like a long time.
Yeah. And for you to transform the same way, that you've done after UK.
It's been a long journey, but like when I moved there, I was like, I would maybe speak to my parents once in a couple of days, but it was more of, hi, how are you, everything. Like I was
thrown into the wild.
Yeah, like I was to deal with my own problems, and I had a gambling problem. I had addictions and everything.
Yeah.
And
did you play poker a lot?
Yeah, bro, I had a big gambling problem. I've like lost like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
literally.
That's insane.
Yeah, UK was crazy.
Yeah,
but
you have to tell me the story later on.
Yeah,
off
the
off the camera.
Off the camera. But no, it was crazy, bro. But I went through all those things, and 18, like, you're very suggestible, like easy to
manipulate.
Very easy, right? So I've had those experiences. A lot of people around me, like, but I feel like that's what made me who I am. So it was important, and I'm grateful that my parents did that in a way. Like I was alone after I was 18, and That's why I'm independent now in a lot of ways, and it's, if I was there, my life would have been very different. And same for you. Like now you can manage, you're your own man. Whatever you can manage yourself, be it on a very minute level, cooking and cleaning and gymming and whatnot, and on a very major level, like setting life goals and all of those things. So this only happens by, I'm sure your first year must have been a struggle,
Yeah,
right?
it was.
Right. And it's first year's sort of a time, and I saw the result, correct me if I'm wrong, wherein you're a boat without, you're sailing without GPS. You're
True.
going with the waves,
You
right?
don't know what you're getting yourself
Yeah,
into.
you don't know what you're getting yourself into, and you're going with the wave wherever life takes you, and you're going. And it's, I think that's also important, obviously, because you're discovering and on that exploration journey. But similarly, how I went through it as well, it's like by
You had to see
going
that
through
side
it.
of life.
Yeah, 100%, right? So like how I now, how you are now and compared to how you were in first year, it's drastic
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
Even like your energy, people you hang out with, how you show up for yourself, even the level of self-belief you have within yourself, right?
It was strengthened by those experiences as well. I feel like, when
Strengthen,
people
yeah.
come to you and tell you, you're weird for doing the things that you're doing,
Mm. Mm.
what do you think of yourself? You're not going to make it. Like, yeah,
People actually told you that?
so many people, bro, like,
Oh.
to your face they come, and it's ruthless. It's ruthless, and sometimes I also feel like it's people come and say those things to you because they see something in you that they know you're going to surpass them, and they want to keep you.
It's coming from a place
it's
of envy.
it's coming from a place of envy, scarcity, all of those things. But luckily, I always had a vision for myself. I always knew what I wanted to do. I always had good role models in life where I was, Virat Kohli, for
Yeah.
example, Eman Gaji,
Yeah.
he's played a massive role in my life.
Yeah.
So these people, when you look at them, and the I don't ask myself, how or what or whatever. I just ask myself, if that person can do it, why can I not do it? And then I was lucky enough to find friends and mentors. Like I have this friend called his name is Aryan. You know Aryan,
Yeah, of
I know.
course, man.
So I was
Shout out Aryan.
shout out Aryan. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be watching this
I
podcast,
hope
and
so,
like
man. I hope
he
so.
takes notes and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's insane, right? And that's where you're like, damn, bro, like why is this person putting so much effort into me? Like he'll be probably watching this podcast, taking notes, and being like, bro, this is where you probably said something you shouldn't have. Maybe this is where you
And that's
could
what you
have
need, man. Constructive
criticism.
criticism. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a real friend would do that,
Yeah.
right? A fake friend would just applaud you
Yeah, you're
all the
doing
time.
amazing,
All
bro.
the time,
Yeah, keep
applaud you,
going.
applaud you.
Yeah,
Like just faking shit up, right? And a hater would always criticize you. But
yeah.
a real friend would criticize you with, it's a constructive
Constructive
criticism.
criticism.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and just be real, right? Because that's
Yeah,
so important.
yeah,
So important.
100%, 100%. So yeah, man, it's beautiful. So tell me about the marathon, bro. Let's get to the meat of the
Yeah, yeah.
conversation.
Let's do it, bro. So
So let me give some context. This guy, man, you had preparation,
yeah,
but it was minimal.
yeah,
Like you weren't. I didn't see you prepare like how people go through a 6-8 week, training block and doing 3-4 weeks. You would fucking go do a 20K run, and then 2 weeks later you do a 30K run,
yeah, bro.
and it was different, and
Yeah,
it just shows, man. I knew you were gonna do it because it's all, I know it's mindset, and you've got a very strong. So even though you weren't training on the road, maybe running and stuff, but mentally you're so strong. Like it's, even if you were on 1 foot, you would do it. I knew
yeah.
you would do it.
For me, the crazy part was when last year when you did the marathon.
Yeah.
That exact marathon is when I started running.
Yeah.
So I saw you do the marathon.
Yeah.
I saw a few people do half marathons.
Yeah.
I saw other people do the marathon. And that was around the time where I was big into gymming. I started with calisthenics. I got into gymming. I was big into gymming. I had just transformed. Like I lost a lot of weight. I had like a good six pack then, and this and that. And I was like, okay, but I feel like my fitness is one dimensional. Like if you told me to probably go out and sprint and then do a lot of functional stuff, I probably wouldn't have been able to do that. And that's when I realized maybe the only way to make my fitness a lot more multi-dimensional and become a hybrid athlete, so to say, is to start running. And that's when I started running on the treadmill. I remember I had Converse Chuck 70s. I was running in those, right? So 1K, Then I unlocked a 2.5K, and I remember putting a story like, I just did my first 2.5K, and this and that. I'm gonna get this shit. And then I did my first 5K, and then after 5K, I was like, okay, then maybe I can just go for a 10. And I did a 10, and then 10K about 15.
You
After
did
15,
half, yeah.
21. And my half marathon was crazy because that was probably, I was going through a very, dark phase of my life.
Yeah.
And I was in Jamnagar as well. So I was like,
Yes,
I was
yeah.
running with like cow dung around me and like cows sleeping on the road
Yeah.
and dogs
Yeah, yeah.
chasing after you every now
Yeah.
and then. But I did the half marathon. And the thing about like the marathon training is that since you're also weightlifting, you're also doing mobility work, you're also going to be running, and then on that side
It's
you
all
have
together.
like uni, career, and side hustle, like all of those things put together.
Yeah.
Like I just did not have the time to run, right? So I was
Yeah.
just like, I made a very DIY marathon running plan
Yeah.
before I came to Sydney this time. So
Yeah.
in July, I think I just went, I have, okay, let me reverse calculate. I have 2 months,
Yeah.
and I have only run 25 kilometers maximum till
Yeah.
now. So I need to get a 30, a 35, and
Yeah.
I just go and,
Yeah.
thug the marathon out. But when I went on my 30K run, I realized at 25 or 24 that I'm sick. I have a
That's
fever.
when you sort of hit the plateau. Or?
I hit the wall,
Yeah.
and I had to stop. So I stopped, and then I aimed for a 30 again. Somehow got to a 30, but only I know how I got to that 30.
Yeah,
That 30
you told
was
me the
toughest.
last 5K was like freaking
I
mental.
felt every nerve in my leg.
Yeah.
Then, but that's also when I figured out that there's this mental side of me that's super strong.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was very important. That run was very
100%.
important. Then I did a 32, and I was like, okay, it's time to go for the marathon. And then I get a knee injury, like 1 week before the marathon.
Yeah, I remember.
And I was truly like, because a lot of other things in my life was also not going my way,
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like marathon is the only thing that I can get it done and be like, okay, like I'm winning now. Let me carry this effect over to other things in my life. And then I had that knee injury, and I was like, okay, how am I gonna get through?
Do you have questions of like, oh, maybe like, the mind is always trying to escape the discomfort. So
no, I regularly had visuals of me just not completing the marathon, like not completing. And that's when I realized if I have a negative goal picture in my head, I am going to go through that negative goal picture, right? If I have a picture in my
how
head,
did you change that?
I just sat down, I meditated, and I think that was like one night before the marathon.
Yeah.
Because even one day before the marathon, I went for a shakeout run. This was a 5K, easy 5K.
I know about it.
And the amount I felt my knee pain, I was like, if I had to do a 5K again tomorrow, I probably wouldn't be able to do it, right? And that was the day of the marathon.
Yeah.
So I sat down at night, and I sat down for 40 minutes, just pure silence, meditation, and then I started visualizing. And when I visualized, I just mapped. I knew if my strategy is good enough, I'll be able to do it. So I mapped out the route. You had told me on Wednesday to start carb loading, so I had started carb loading already. I was enjoying my food absolutely, like eating everything that came my way. And I was like, okay, so I have 42 kilometers. I will refuel twice every hour. So carb gel every 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I was well carb loaded, well rested. I slept at 8 p.m. so I could wake up at 4 and be well rested with 8 hours of sleep. So I did that. I had a hydration strategy. I knew I would just pick up a bottle of coconut water every time I started cramping. So I knew that was going to happen. In terms of music, I knew exactly what music I was going to listen to at what stage of the marathon.
Playlist, right?
Yeah, prepared the playlist properly, and I had a podcast in the middle that I was listening to Virat Kohli.
Yeah.
And the bonus on it was that I got to run with him for the first 9 kms.
Yeah.
So that was just because when you run together, bro, there's no way you feel.
You don't even feel anything. Yeah.
Like remember when the music was playing, like those people on the drum, just when it's 9 kilometers in, and I was like, damn, that's crazy.
Up until that point, like when I left you, like it was just fun. And after that, I was alone, right?
Yeah,
I crossed Vincent and Raj, but I was alone, and I wasn't carrying headphones, so it was all
pure silence.
There was noise, but generally I wouldn't have anything to listen to per se. But yeah, like when you're running with someone, it makes a
huge difference. For me, the only thing was the fact that when we were running together, I was averaging 5:57.
Yeah.
And that was a fast pace for me.
That was fast, yeah.
Even though I didn't feel it on my legs, I knew that if I went till 30 with you at 5:57, I would have hit.
I know. No, everybody's on their own, bro. Like, so I've got a different goal. You've got a different goal.
No, but insane, bro. You did it at six average pace?
Yeah, 6 or something.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Bro, you as well, like you did the whole marathon running, which is quite commendable. It's like you've never done 42K before. 30K you've done once,
Yeah.
32,
32 was the max. 31.8
yeah,
to be
but all of
precise.
them like pretty much once. It's not like you're used to that feeling again and again and again. So it just goes to show how much of it is mind,
Yeah.
right? Physical
In
is a
mind
part of
also, I
it.
feel like the one thing that works for me the most is obviously you have those moments during a run or even in pursuing something else where you are feeling on top of the world, you are feeling like you're overcoming things and you have that testosterone in you. But I feel like just putting myself in a calm state of mind is what helps me the most.
Yeah.
Because when I saw like kids around carrying like those jelly beans and giving out jelly beans
Yeah.
or those tap for power up like
That all helps.
cardboards,
Yeah.
and you're just going like, damn, this is just a
Yeah.
fun Sunday and everyone's
Yeah.
having fun and I'm just
100%.
having fun.
100%.
And I'm so lucky to be able to run in a city like Sydney on a marathon day and be able to go through this experience. And after that, it was just fun. Like
Yeah.
I was genuinely enjoying that
Yeah.
marathon.
It's all a change of perspective, but like you need to have that level of awareness and consciousness to be able to change that perspective,
Yeah.
which is what meditation does. It's for me, like I just look at it as a foundation of everything I do. If I don't have awareness of anything, like how am I gonna change my emotions or habits or anything or
Anything in
chase
life.
my goals? Like if you only start looking for the solution once you acknowledge and be aware that you have a problem, right?
Yeah.
So with the marathon as well, like it's all once you have those thoughts, like the thoughts don't go right naturally,
Thoughts never
they
go.
always go.
Yeah.
But these things, the fist bumps and all the banners and people cheering you on and stuff, it really helps because it takes you away from that loop,
Loop. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I remember this is during like I normally I don't cry, and even for like the past like year and a half, 2 years I didn't cry, right?
Yeah.
But there are certain moments where you feel, and this is like when I feel a lot of love,
Yeah.
that's when I end up crying
Yeah.
because it's just
Yeah.
it's overwhelming. And I had that this time when I went back to home and I visited my home
Oh.
school and met like my old teacher.
Yeah.
And another moment was when that run, that 30K that I was talking about, where
Yeah.
I saw hell and I still finished
Yeah.
that. And then on the marathon day, I felt like I would just burst out into tears. But there was a moment where I was at the finish line. I think last 2-3 kilometers before we entered the Botanic Gardens, and that's when there were like a group of cheerleaders just going, you got this, you got
Yeah.
this, and I was like, damn, this is crazy.
Yeah.
That's when I shed like one tear, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like time to get through with this. Yeah. Near the
That's so
finish line.
beautiful,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
How would you sort of like briefly describe the marathon experience as a whole, and if somebody wants to, I think it's not about running.
Yeah.
It's more of a journey of self exploration
Yeah.
and your relationship with yourself and your mind and the conversation you have with them and stuff. So
The only way I describe running is, sure you hit the gym, sure you are fit, sure you do other endeavors in sport, but the thing that running does to you is that you are just with yourself
yeah.
for a very long period of time, and you discover yourself a lot because in the during the run also you're in altered states. When you have a runner's high, you are in a feeling of euphoria, like you just feel like you can power through anything in life,
Yeah.
and that carries over.
Yeah.
I felt that a lot because when I started running my 10Ks and 15Ks, I had that runner's high feeling. I had
Yeah.
that feeling of powering through the pain and powering through self-doubt, and that carried over to every single pursuit in my life that I had, because I just went, if I can power through this, I can
Yeah.
power through anything I want.
Yeah.
And I remember even last semester, like I was gunning for an internship, and in the end, eventually I ended up getting it and then not getting
Not
it and all
getting,
of
yeah.
those. But then you just realize that you can power through anything if you want, and so I powered through that. I launched the Jack of all trades, the
Yes.
business, and then getting to 10K and all that. Like those things, just you can power through those things if you can power through physically, and that's what running does. And the best part about running is also the social aspect of it,
Yeah.
because if I was not running, I wouldn't have met people like yourself, get
100%.
to run with people like yourself. Then I met Alessio as well.
Mm.
I met so many cool people through running, so I think that would
Yeah.
have been unlocked for me if I didn't start running. So yeah.
100%. Meeting those like-minded people and sort of like going through those questions together of everyone's on their own journey and you're getting deeper in your own journey through other people's curiosity and questioning. It's amazing, man. Like like a lot of people who don't do this, they don't understand, and they ask like, oh, why do you have to run so much?
Yeah.
It's not about running.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not
not
about
about
running.
running.
I don't even like
Yeah.
like 5 10K I like, but
Yeah.
after that it's just like it's boring, and it's like, but that's where the real growth happens. Yeah, man.
If I were to enjoy running, I'd never go above 5K.
Yeah, exactly. Like people do it. Oh, why do you run 50, 100K, whatever? Like, is it even healthy? No,
Yeah.
it's not
It's
healthy.
not
I
healthy.
don't do it for
Yeah.
health purposes. I do it for the mind.
Yeah.
And same is for the marathon. Like running 42K, it's not healthy.
The
It's not good for your
craziest
body.
part is also the context, right? Like for me, running a 42K is like a marathon, and for this guy, it's a training run. Like he's just training.
It's gonna be a training for you as well, bro. So you've done a marathon now.
No ultras, no ultras for me, no ultras for me.
Like that, when you were saying like you know how we discussed, you're never satisfied. So when I did my first marathon, obviously it was on. It's you know the feeling now. You've done a marathon. I've done 6 now in the past 2 3 months, and this marathon when I didn't have a feeling.
Yeah, you just didn't. You it was a
I
normal
was
run for you.
yeah, I was anticipating like I'm gonna feel something at the end of it,
Yeah.
but
Because
I
you'd
didn't.
already done it before, right? Like you've
Yeah,
done
so
it
that's
twice.
like the sort of the curse that I say when it's a blessing and a curse as well. That you once you do it once, like you
Are desensitized to it.
yeah, that feeling's gone. Like I mean, you won't feel it at the same level ever again.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to keep pushing and you have to keep climbing another
Yeah,
mountain
another
and
mountain.
mountain and mountain. And I think that's what humans are like. It's a pursuit. Like you have to keep leveling up again
Yeah.
and again and again. And that's your purpose.
Yeah.
Right?
100%. I feel like I'm very I call myself, even when people ask me, why do you do things? Why are you working all day? Why do you sit on that desk for 8 hours? Why do you just, keep building? Why do you keep having this vision? I'm like, I'm just enjoying it. Like, dude, like I genuinely, my only goal and purpose is to enjoy and like have a sense of adventure in life.
Yeah.
The only way to have a sense of adventure and enjoy in life is to take more responsibility and scale higher mountains. It's really as simple as that. For me, if I'm feeling shit right now, if I'm feeling like maybe I can't get to this, maybe I can't do this, maybe, say for example, even right now, I know that the next big goal that I'm chasing after, those things will require a lot of character unlocks from me, where I will have to learn new things. I will have to unlock new parts of my brain that I don't know exist. But then, and it's tough, right?
Yeah.
But then if I wasn't doing it, what else would I be doing? Like
Yeah.
there's no other
Yeah.
like there's no other way for me to have fun.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's what makes it like
worth pursuing.
Yeah,
And even if I was
living.
having fun, right? Like for me, also having fun and going out and speaking to as many people as possible is also a mission.
100%. 100%. I mean, it's just life is so paradoxical. Like everything you look at, it's just so paradoxical. Like it's what darkness is, what gives meaning to the light. It's when you go down is only when you see the what meaning gives it. Going down gives meaning to how the high feels like, right? If you're at high all the time, like that's your new normal, and when you have then it's a normal, right? It's average, and that's creeping thoughts and all those come in. So it's the fluctuation constantly which sort of gives meaning to each other, and that's life. We're here to feel to as much as we can. And that involves everything, the good and the bad.
100%. I agree. 100%.
So a lot of people I meet, they're very like, you're one of the few people that I know that like really values meditation as much as I do, right? People still look at it as like, people don't really, I don't think people understand it to that depth, right? And every time I've talked with you, like I've discovered this, it holds a very special place in your life, and you're someone who's been meditating since a very young age. You come from a background as well, from a family as well, who believe in this, like who are avid meditators, who recommend it and encourage you to do it. So what would you my whole purpose with Wiser is I want to introduce people to this practice, because mind is everything, and that that's all there is to this world. Like outside is just reflection of within, and your within is a reflection of your mind and your relationship with it. So the if I were to leave one thing behind in this world is just encourage people to meditate more, because that's where they can build the foundation to empower themselves, do things that would bring them that joy and happiness and ability to feel so fulfilled that they're in a position to give.
Hmm.
Giving is what our true purpose, in my opinion, our true
I
purpose
agree.
is,
I agree.
right?
Yeah.
So getting your place to a level where you have the ability
To
and the
give.
resources to give, and when you give, there's no deed that is more fulfilling than giving. So what role has meditation played in your life, and how
Yeah.
would you like
Uh,
recommend people to?
so it's tough to explain meditation unless you've experienced it
Yeah.
yourself, and you have a Buddha right here, which is the beautiful path. So I was introduced to meditation through my parents and then through Osho eventually.
Yeah.
And Osho calls it the inner Buddha. You could call
Inner
it the
Buddha.
soul, you could call it
Yeah.
whatever you want, your
Consciousness.
spirit,
Yeah.
your consciousness, the
Yeah.
energy. And I feel like you mentioned the mind, but I look at meditation in a way where the body and mind are not the spirit. Spirit and the inner Buddha is
No, I
separated
agree. I
from the
look at
mind
it
and
as
the
well.
body,
Yeah,
right?
same way.
But the mind is powerful and the body is powerful,
Yeah.
and it serves its own
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah.
And I was introduced to it from a very young age, and my parents were like, they took me to Osho. They took me to.
Yeah.
I went through. I did Kundalini,
Kundalini.
Vipassana. I did dynamic. I
Yeah.
did evening meditations. I
Yeah.
heard a lot of discourses. I've done all of that growing up, which is I'm very grateful for it. But it was only until 2021 where I actually hit that point where I was in a watchful state, right? Where I
Yeah.
was truly watchful,
Where you experienced it.
experienced it,
Yeah, there's a difference in knowledge and experience.
and experience. When
Yeah.
you've seen it, you know it exists, right? You
Yeah,
don't even
like
have to
you
believe in it.
felt it in every cell of your body. Yeah.
I know you are right here because I see you right here.
Yeah.
Like I know you're right here,
Yeah.
right? But it's also the fact that until you see your inner spirit that way, you will never know that it's
Yes,
there.
agreed.
But that's what feeling that and having that moment did to me, where I realized, okay, yeah, uh, I'm just experiencing this feeling called life, this experience called life, and what is in me is going to live forever. This body and this mind are going to die at some point. They were born at some point. I'll go on to my next body, and so that's all that life is, right?
Yeah.
Just experiencing it to its fullest, and then doing whatever you want. Like at the end of the day, whatever you set big goals, you're ambitious, you give to people, you're a nice person. All of that is on the outside. The inner spirit is just watching, and that is what I was very lucky to discover at a young age. So from that, I just think about it, if I go through a very rough time, if I have to push myself to a great degree, if I have to feel a great degree of pain, it's easy
Makes
for
it
me.
worth it.
It's
Yeah.
very easy for me because I'm just experiencing
Yeah.
at the end of the day. And that's what meditation does to you, where your home is you are your own home, and you know that wherever you go, you're going to have yourself, you're going to have that inner spirit, you're going to have that watchful spirit, and so then nothing is foreign, right? Like life just becomes an experience after that.
Wow.
And I know you have experienced that feeling, and the people that are meditative, it's amazing to be around those people as well, because you feel that sense of ground. Because when you are with another person who's in touch with their inner Buddha, like you feel like you're in touch with your inner Buddha as
Yeah,
well.
you see it.
Yeah, you see it. So that's what meditation did for me. And yeah, I would 10 on 10 recommend if someone wants to get into that.
He's the youngest, wisest person I know for facts. Like you, 21?
2020 exactly. Yeah,
20?
Yeah,
21 this year?
21 in December. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that, bro, you're on the right path. Like that's why I relate so much with you.
Yeah.
You're just scratching the surface here. Honestly, like the fame you've gotten is only like 1%.
Yeah,
it's you're just scratching the surface here. So I totally believe in you, bro.
Yeah.
Like there's so much you're gonna do.
Yeah.
It's only 21. Like you just started your adult life,
Yeah.
right? So
yeah.
I'm just excited to witness this journey and
Yeah.
just be a part of it and add value as
No, it's
as much
also
as I
you have to
can.
keep inspiring me as well, right?
100% bro, it's likewise, right? So I feel like the one thing that keeps the friendship, genuine friendship, sustainable
Yeah.
is mutual admiration. Nothing else.
I agree.
If you admire, it needs to come from both sides though, right? If you admire me and I admire you, that friendship is sustainable. There's respect, there's level of value, banter, fun, everything, but there's a level of respect and love that, like, this person in my life adds value, so I want to work to keep
that
them
person.
there.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
100%. I agree. No, but yeah, long way to go.
long way to go,
We've
brother.
been lucky in so many ways, that we don't realize. And I also feel like if that you have a certain vision for yourself, you have a certain goal for yourself, it's been planted in you, not by yourself, by something that you don't know. How did that thought come to your mind? It's
Yeah, you don't know.
a sum of the experiences and the conditioning you've had.
Yes. Yeah.
And so for me to also have that vision for myself is I feel very grateful for it. And so just, yeah, again, as you said, scratching the surface, there's a long way to go, but yeah, just gotta keep
That's
chipping away
beautiful,
at
bro.
it.
So, do you want to set an intention on this podcast for a certain goal that you want to achieve in the near future or later future? I'm sure you have a lot of goals. Could
Yeah,
be in the physical realm with your body or
yeah,
with your success or with your business or
yeah,
maybe what's after the marathon. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
No, physical realm, I feel like I will keep challenging myself every
Yeah.
single year.
It's the point. It's,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's the only way.
there has to be some
There has to
pursuit
be
physically
something.
every single year,
Yeah.
but it's for me more of it is on the physical, on the material realm, on the mental realm.
And the physical helps that, right?
It
Yeah.
fuels the other.
It fuels,
It
yeah.
fuels the spiritual, fuels the physical and the mental,
Yeah.
and the mental fuels the physical, and physical
Yeah.
fuels the mental. And that's what I'm a big proponent of online as well.
100%. And we see that, bro. The way you do your videos, I feel like knowledge is one thing, but it's a real art to be able to communicate in a way where people comprehend it to the exact way that you're
Trying to
what you're
convey
trying
it.
to
Yeah,
deliver,
yeah,
right? And you're so good at that. I'm sure there's a lot of hard work and
yeah.
thinking, a lot of that goes into it. But kudos to you, man. When like your videos are truly like they give you goosebumps, like they're very exciting,
Yeah.
energizing, and
Yeah.
the way you put them and format them, like the whole package together is beautiful. So you explain a lot of the concepts in, like, I know those concepts, right?
Yeah.
If I were to like you explain them
They're
in
very
such,
abstract in your head.
yeah, but you
Yeah.
put them very simply,
Yeah.
and it's a freaking work of art to put something so complex in a 30-second 40-second video, man.
Yeah, yeah.
So kudos to you, bro. I'm sure, like, I feel inspired, so I'm sure a lot of people, and that's why you get what you deserve, right? So you're deserving of all the love that you're just starting to get, and you're gonna get a lot more. So
Yeah, I
that's
think
amazing.
about it also like that. If the more I can convey exactly what I'm feeling, and
Yeah.
if I can make the person on a screen feel that, and the more like the deeper that I can go with that is, I'll unlock a lot more success with it.
Yeah.
Where I'm just scratching the surface.
Yeah,
So yeah,
100%.
long
Yeah,
way to
it's
go, but
also a
I
self,
really appreciate
exploring
it.
the self as well, right?
Yeah,
Going with that.
true.
Wow, man,
Yeah, it
that's
was a
amazing.
mad talk. Yeah,
Master,
insane
yeah,
talk. Yeah,
100%, bro. I want you to briefly tell everybody about your Notion templates.
yeah,
They're amazing. A lot of people rave about it. You've had the level of success you've had from resources like that, which you created for yourself, and it's helping a lot of other people. So tell us a little bit about the Notion templates and tell everybody where they can find you.
yeah.
You're a celebrity. I'm sure everybody knows
Nah,
you,
bro, it's nothing
but
like that. Yeah, nothing like that. Yeah.
but tell us, bro.
Yeah, sure. So what I created through my Notion templates, there's an ultimate operating system for your life. It's called the Jack of all trades.
Yes.
I think
Let's
you've
go.
used it as well. So you've used it as well, right?
Bro,
Yeah.
I'm honest. I'm about to, like, I haven't
Yeah.
jumped onto Notion
Yeah, you
yet,
haven't
but
used
it's on my.
Yeah, on your next.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
So I created this Notion template. So for me, especially like a year ago or so, I was in uni. I had multiple pursuits. Obviously, like uni didn't cut it for me. I wanted to have something professionally. I wanted to have something on the side hustle. I wanted to have a physical pursuit, and there were very few people who were a jack of all trades, who were doing
Yeah,
multiple different
mastering
things,
all sort of.
all realms of
Yeah.
possibility.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was like, how do I structure things for myself? How do I set those tasks for myself? How do I set those goals for myself? How do I make sure maybe I'm training every single day, I'm eating the right foods? How do I make
Progressing
sure
in all aspects.
all aspects academics? So that's when I came up with the Jack of all trades. I basically just designed it for myself. I was like, okay,
It's beautiful.
like how do I stay sane in
Yeah.
this world of having multiple pursuits? And I came up with the jack of all trades. It was initially called the bamboo brain because it was to witness my
I
bamboo
love
growth.
that philosophy as well.
We
That
spoke about it
analogy, oh,
in
it's
the last
insane. If you
podcast.
guys want to check that out in the first episode,
Yeah,
that analogy I love.
the
I
bamboo
loved it
growth
from you.
analogy. I
Yeah,
still live by it.
yeah,
I still
100%. I know you
live
do.
by it.
I know you embody it.
We all
But
do.
yeah,
We all do.
but
But yeah, so that's what the Notion template is all about. And I was my whole philosophy behind it was I didn't want to work with random brands when I was making the content that I'm making. I wanted to have something that was truly helpful, and that's when I launched the Notion template, different templates, the jack of all trades, and then there's multiple sprinters of that. I think you will put the link or something
yeah,
down there,
hundred
so you
percent.
can
Yeah, yeah,
you can find it, or it's also on my socials. Um, and the response has been really good. I see kids from India just sending me those
yeah,
screenshots and sending me messages how they're using it in their life and navigating this multiple pursuits in their life. And it's been amazing, dude. Like I genuinely am proud of what I've
yeah.
created
Yeah.
there, and I'm happy that
You
it's
should be,
helping
man.
people. So yeah,
That's
that's what I
beautiful.
came up with.
And where can people find you?
So on Instagram, it's my handle is my name, so moksh.vasant, at moksh.vasant. And even on YouTube, you can find me at moksh.vasant. I've been documenting my journey growing up since 2017, which is
Yeah,
quite surreal, looking
it's
back and
crazy.
seeing that, I've literally grown
Everything.
up online. But yeah, that's where you can find me. And I hope this conversation was, something that I wouldn't normally have spoken
Yeah,
about on a video. And
yeah,
you've really like tapped into different parts of me that I usually don't talk about. But
yeah.
it's been amazing being here in this surrounding, this energy, and talking about the things that we're talking
No,
about. So
man, that's lovely.
yeah,
Like, there's a saying they call, I don't know if you heard this. They say, Jack of all trades, master of none,
none, but still better
but
than a
still
master
better
of
than
one.
a
Yeah,
master
yeah,
of one.
yeah.
So I'm sure you had this in your philosophy. And I think it's important to, uh, in a balanced way, progress in all aspects of life. Specialization is just neglecting everything else, and we're as humans, we have multiple responsibilities to ourselves, to other people, to our body, to our soul. You can't just like lock down on one thing, like people call them mentally ill, if
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I
yeah.
think it fits perfectly. But thank you so much for sharing, bro.
Mm.
It's honestly an
Bro,
honor.
thank you so much for having
I'm
me on here, and it's just an honor being here and
100,
having this conversation with you.
I'm grateful
Yeah,
to have a friend like you. It's for people watching, I can just say, like, the most important thing is surrounding yourself with the right energy, and this guy is the epitome of that, with like living such a balanced life with your studies and the goals you're doing with business and everything. So this energy is something that a lot of people can sort of invite in their life,
yeah,
and
yeah,
get a lot out of. So check out Jack of all trades.
yeah.
Check out Moksh's channel. I love watching his content. It's so freaking inspirational. But yeah, thank you, bro.
Thank you for having me here, man. It was an awesome
Give me a
podcast.
hug, bro. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Hopefully, a lot more
Yes,
to be
this is
coming in
just
the
the
future.
start.
Yeah,
It's just becoming a tradition. Moksh is gonna come here every
yeah,
year.
yeah,
But yeah, thank you guys.
yeah.
Thank you everybody for watching and being a part of this. We're gonna link everything below in the description. Check it out and show us some love. And we'll see you
In the
in the
next
next
one.
one.